Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. I've got a little video for you folks this week as I'm getting a patch out for the game that is focused on a bunch of changes to take and hold, specifically scoring that have been requested by the competitive community. A number of these things have been things that I had meant to go back and do earlier and had just sort of not found their way back onto my plate that relate to some changes that I made back when I created Institution. Um, I had a bunch of intent at that point back when creating that level to try to create a bit more competitive depth to the game. And in doing so, had added a whole bunch of new ways that you could get extra points in the scoring. I'd added a bunch of different conditions, a multi-kill system, a breach speed bonus system, and then the first to worst community had ended up running the level with those scoring changes in, and over time had discovered a number of things about them that were suboptimal. So I basically want to talk about some of those things that are coming back out of the game, and I've also adjusted some other things. And I wanted to basically explain why and sort of talk about a very common challenge that one runs into as a game designer when trying to build scoring systems, especially for competitive games that are something like Take and Hold, which it's also very much a roguelike. There's a lot of equipment randomization. There's a lot of randomization in terms of what parts of the level you could be fighting in, where enemies can end up being placed. And over time, when you have a community of people who play a game competitively, they're going to attempt to optimize the way that they play it. And the the thing that you can run into is that when the optimized way to get a given score is what's called a degenerate pattern of play, meaning that of the whole possibility space of all the different ways that you can play, things sort of collapse down into a single meta, and that meta is not fun. And so I ended up accidentally triggering this in a couple of different ways through seemingly good ideas about scoring. And so I wanted to talk about one or two of those. So one of the examples of this is that I created something called the breach speed bonus, which the idea had been to try to reward the player for just coming in like a sick operator super efficiently and just bam 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 hitting all the guards, like, oh, you took out the hold guards super fast and then triggered the hold, you should be scored more. The problem with this in practice, especially when combined with other scoring requirements involving doing things stealthily, is that the way to ensure getting the most points for this was basically to sneak up on a hold point very carefully to make sure that you didn't get seen, and then basically wait for the hold guards to be positioned, usually by just firing into the air or whacking a gun against the wall, till they were all close enough in one sort of area that you could sort of pop around a corner and just go 1 2 3 and kill them very, very fast. And the result of this is this slowed down the game. It ended up having the opposite effect of the role fantasy. The fantasy of what I was trying to encourage is someone just blitzing in and just John Wicking down the guards. And the reality to do that safely in a tournament context was to slow your play down dramatically. The same thing with the sort of bonuses related to not triggering the alert at all. And so yeah, you combine those things together, and it ended up creating a flow of play that made it less fun to play and less fun to watch for the folks who enjoy Take and Hold as a spectator sport as well. So whoops. One of the other ones that ended up I'm going in was the same thing with I tried putting in something akin to a kill streak bonus, where in a sense you had a multiplicative kill streak that could happen when kills followed each other sequentially. The problem with that as well is that it caused you to, instead of efficiently and effectively taking down enemies, is that if you had enemies coming in for multiple points in the level, what it actually encouraged you was trying to corral those enemies really, really close. So you could once again just go boop, 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 get a bunch of sequential kills. It caused the player to engage in a distorted form of play for a higher score that wasn't more fun wasn't more interesting and also didn't make narrative sense. This is not the way someone should be attempting to fight in that context. And so, yeah, so a whole bunch of those scoring ideas have been reverted. Thanks to the community. Hoyt was the one who actually collated a bunch of things for me from a couple different sources. There's some scoring changes, a bunch of scoring bug fixes that are currently in the process of being tested as I film this video, and hopefully they'll be ready. Well, if you're watching this video, then the work got done. In addition to that, there's a bunch of fixes related to our looting mechanics. There are a couple types of exotic weapons that when they would spawn out of the looting boxes would break because they don't actually fire cartridges, like the laser gun and the flamethrower and things like that. So that should be fixed. Have a couple just like very futzy little gun fixes. I think most of them from Pyro, and so those have gone in as well. So hopefully that that makes things better. I have the fixes come a little more slowly, and part of that is I'm trying to do them very, very carefully, make sure that I'm not, as I've said in the past, kicking over someone's sandcastle, and documenting all of those changes in our API notes in case it impacts modder stuff, especially because these patches are just going right onto the main branch. They shouldn't break anything. And then I have an important announcement for you folks from the First to Worst community. I'm just going to read it off here. The folks over at First to Worst have announced a new community competition to celebrate the release of 1.0 and H3VR Studio. It's a competition centered around creating and playing custom take and hold characters, and is giving you, the community, the chance to beat your meat. The first stage is for custom character submissions, and that stage is open right now. If you have an idea for what makes a competitive character tick, or a wacky character idea that you think people would enjoy playing for high scores, they want to see it. The second phase is where each week for roughly 2 months, one of those custom characters will be opened up for scoring. Your goal will be to hit the best score during the week and truly give that character some exercise and some testing. Winners will be announced for the most liked characters, the top player for each character, and the best character review. The First to Worst team will then be using this feedback to produce a custom competitive character for the next full-blown First to Worst tournament. So here's some important deadlines for you. So character submissions are already open, and submissions are open until August 23rd. Weekly leaderboard rushes start August 28th and aiming for 2 months of characters. And then First to Worst 2026 is expected to begin at the beginning of November. And hopefully I will have had the time to patch a few more things related to Take and Hold that will improve that situation, especially if they play it on the institution level. Full information is available at the First to Worst Discord, linked in the description of this video. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you all beat your meat for our amusement. Why? Anyway. Cool. Anywho, so that just about does it. I have to head back to work. We've got some intense deadlines related to H3VR 2, because this is like a funded project. There are deadlines that have to be hit. So I'm gonna run back to work. Let me know if I have somehow messed something up with this patch for the game, and I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful weekend. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.